Like, fourth. Oh.
Okay, would you rather cross paths with a random man or a random bear on a hike?
Okay, I wrote on my answer. It kind of depends on the species of bear and
No, it's
the
random.
and the time of day. Because if I
Well,
ran
when-
into a man at like 3 in the morning,
No, when do you
I'd be
hike?
scared.
People typically hike like in the morning or afternoon.
Felicity, can you take my seat for a sec? Keep going, guys. Keep going.
I feel like I'd be more scared to. I don't know. I mean, I guess it kind of, again, depends on the time of day. Like, if we're going hypothetically, like generally, I guess.
Like afternoon, when people usually hike.
Then, like, I really wish I could be like bear, but like a man, because.
Why would you wish to say bear?
Because, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if it were a bear. Again, it just depends on the context. Like, if I ran into a man at 3 in the morning.
Not 3 in the morning.
But, like, yeah, the man.
Okay, but you
There
said
you
you
go.
wished you could pick bear. Why?
Yeah, because I feel like the point of that is, like, you know, like.
Rationality. Do you think the bear will be less of a raper?
The point of that, yeah, like, the point of that question's, like, yeah, that's the point of the question.
Why would the man sexually assault you?
It's very common.
How common?
Well, I've read it's 1 in 4, but I think it's a lot higher because every woman I know has been sexually assaulted, and a lot of men I know have also been sexually assaulted by men.
So what do you think the percentage is?
Like, documented or undocumented?
Just what do you think?
I think it's gotta be like, I don't think anyone in their life hasn't been sexually harassed or assaulted in some way.
No. Women
So,
are
but
also
what do you think the
that.
percentage is?
Yeah.
My best friend was just sexually assaulted by a woman.
Yes.
Okay, but what do you think the percentage is?
Did I ever say that that's not possible?
No, she didn't. What do you think the
Yeah.
percentage is?
Probably like 99.9%.
Haha, what do you think the percentage is?
Wait, come on.
Undocumented, 99.9%.
Out of wait.
Everyone, like, out of everyone in
No,
this
no,
world.
I'm not asking like how many people do you think have been assaulted? I'm asking like how many men do you think are likely to sexually or have sexually assaulted someone?
That's like a very. Probably all of them.
100%?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah. Even if it were unintentionally, like, yeah.
So you think every single man that you've passed on the street, you think your dad has sexually assaulted someone? Do you have brothers?
No.
Do you have nephews, uncles?
Yeah.
You think they've sexually assaulted someone?
I don't really trust that they haven't.
Why? Why would you think that they have?
Well, I wouldn't be like, oh, you know, like, I wouldn't accuse them of that, but, like, I just think it's very, very common and unlikely that it wouldn't happen, you know?
But you're saying you think 100% of men.
Yeah.
Do you know the actual statistic?
I don't know the documented statistics, but also I know a lot of survivors are very scared to open up about
Yeah, there's
that.
like undocumented, but what do you think the statistic is?
Okay, again, 99.9.
No, like real statistic. Do you think it's 99.9?
No, 25%.
The other panelists.
Okay. Man or bear on a hike, random man or random bear on a hike.
Well, I've been on hikes and I've come across random men, but I haven't come across a bear yet, so I would say the man.
Okay.
Man.
Absolutely a man.
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 Okay. So you're the only one that picked bear.
I didn't pick bear, though.
Well, you said
I said
you
man,
wish
but I
you
wish
could
I could
pick
say
bear.
bear.
But why would you wish that?
Because I get the point of that question is to, like...
What's the point of the question?
The point of the question is to, like, show that, you know...
But what do you really feel if it is bear?
But
I
what-
mean, because her response was basically around bear.
What
it's
is the
like
point of the
death or,
question?
like,
Rape.
trauma. Yeah.
That's what you think. But that's a
death or
problem. That's what
trauma.
you think.
So you're saying that like every man that you pass you on the street, you think they've sexually assaulted someone or would like to sexually assault you?
Not necessarily me, but women probably, yeah.
You said 99.9%.
Yeah.
Do you think that your career option that you have right now kind of like skews your
Affects
brain?
it? Yes.
That's a great point.
You are constantly
do.
around men who are probably not like the nicest people on the planet.
Yeah, but also every woman outside of it that I've met has been sexually assaulted, and like a lot of men I have met have been sexually assaulted by men as well.
But to say that every single man on the planet has sexually assaulted somebody,
I'm
you
not
don't think
saying
that's
they-
outrageous?
Well, she asked if they have or have thought about it.
No, I didn't say
No.
thought. I said, how many men do you think
And you
are
said
sexually-
99.9%.
sexual
Yeah.
predators?
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
But like you're saying that like you think even like your father has done that and like your uncles and nephews and such.
I'm not going to accuse them again, but I'm just saying that it's probably like more likely than not. You know?
Everybody
They
answer.
all said man besides
Except
Chair
for
One.
But I did say
no,
man.
she said man.
Oh, she said man?
Yeah.
She just said that 99.9%.
No, she said man. At first she said man, then she said I wish I could pick bear, and then she went on to say that she thinks like 99.9% of men are sexual predators,
I see. Okay.
even her family members.
Oh.
I'm not saying like
Wow.
they are. I'm just saying it's very like I don't want to think they're not.
Do you think they would be offended if like they heard you saying that?
I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying I don't trust men.
You
You're not
are accusing them, though.
You're not accusing,
I'm
but
not.
you're saying you wouldn't be surprised. It's like
Because they're men.
it's like what if I was like I wouldn't be surprised if you were a neo-Nazi. Isn't that kind of weird? Right. So
I mean, but yeah, you don't know like
Based on her experiences and where she works, and
Yeah.
the people she surrounds herself with, I
Yes.
can understand where she comes to this
Yes.
conclusion.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Thank you.
Oh, that was
my point is
see that question? Hey, you need to send in $200 to actually have that question be read out loud and then have it be said.
$200.04 to be exact.
that was
my
True.
point
That was
is
a funny
because of my trauma, I don't trust any man, no matter.
You only gave $10, buddy. You need to step up your
But
game, and then we'll talk about your
Here's my issue
question.
with that, though. Here's my issue with that is what if we extend this justification to race? Say somebody's been traumatized by a black person. Does your statement that you made about men all of a sudden transmute into a racist one if you say, well, I've had trauma from black people. Therefore, I think this about black people. Is it racist?
Definitely.
So are you sexist against men?
I guess this specific view comes from trauma, and it is misandry.
Oh,
So-
it is misandry.
Yeah, which is
You're-
sexist.
Are you
yes.
a misandrist?
Not like generally, no, but I think when it comes to trusting men, my trust for men's at a 0, which could be viewed as sexist or misandrist. You know?
Okay, so you would,
So I'll
you would
admit it.
consider yourself misandrist then?
That's not necessarily what I said.
Well, okay, in some, you don't take on the title in total,
no,
but
no.
you have misandrist positions. Is that
One,
more-
which is my lack of trust for men. I
Okay.
think in any other regard, no, but I think I've had a lot of negative experiences with men that makes me think that way. And I think misogynistic men also have trauma with women that make them misogynistic.
I think also statistically though, like your point of view is supported because you can fact check me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure 82% of like minors who get assaulted are women, and 90% of like assault cases are women, and like more than 95% of sexual assaulters are men. So I feel like if you do have like a distrust for men, like it is backed by statistics.
Yeah, but this justification, even if it is the case, and mind you, a lot of these, these stats are misrepresented. They can oftentimes be false. But just for the sake of argument, I'll go ahead and grant that, yeah, men are overrepresented in certain crime statistics. Sure, let's grant it. We'll grant it. It's probably true, although I do think a lot of these statistics are mischaracterized. For example, women will say, well, the majority of people who commit the crime of rape are men. Well, if by the definition, the criminal legal definition of rape prevents women from being deemed as committing that crime, while we as a society might say, well, somebody who's, like a woman who takes advantage of somebody, like we would call her a rapist. Criminally, it doesn't always work out that way. So if you actually look in these jurisdictions, women can't be convicted for the crime of rape.
Are you joking?
No.
Are you joking?
That's fucked up. I'm just saying that's really fucked up.
You can look into it. So if the crime of rape, you as the perpetrator have to penetrate them, then women, I guess technically, like if you were to stick, I don't want to get detailed. If you want to like put your finger, whatever, like if you penetrate somebody as a woman without their consent, under that circumstance, but like for example, made to penetrate wouldn't constitute rape.
The fuck?
That's just how it is. But so when these statistics are presented, and
Can
look,
I see the definition? Am I allowed to fact check you? Like, I'm sorry. I just that's mind blowing.
Do you think it's not the case?
I think it's so fucked up. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. But
Yeah.
it is the case in a lot of jurisdictions
I didn't
where
know that.
women can't be found criminally liable, criminally guilty for the
It's harder.
the crime of rape.
Definitely harder.
I think unless they become
They
pregnant.
can be found guilty of other sex crimes, but the specific crime of rape,
Yeah.
in certain jurisdictions, you have to penetrate.
But
There's a penetrative component.
with something of your own body parts. I mean, you can penetrate a man with something
so
forcibly.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
But like for example, like if a woman like holds a guy's arms down and he's clearly not consenting,
Right.
and she has a gun,
Yeah.
and she forces him to penetrate her under threat, like coercive or violence.
Yeah, that's different.
That would not be considered rape.
Yeah.
It would be considered some other sex
But
crime.
if she held him down and forcibly penetrated him
Yeah,
with something, would that be rape?
Yes.
My
Or is that-
understanding, yes, that would
or
be
is that-
rape.
okay.
But most rapes I would view it as rape if a woman forces a man to penetrate her. But criminally speaking,
They're saying no reverse rape. Reverse rape doesn't exist, is what they're saying.
well, and by the way, the definitions vary by jurisdiction. But in any case, to the central point, you were saying a little bit of a tangent there. You were saying, well, it is the case that men commit these crimes more frequently. Well, my first point would be, it's a really small proportion of men. And so while it is in this, I'll grant it, while it might be true that men commit these crimes more frequently, a really, really small percentage of men commit these crimes. And I think it is bigotry to attribute to the group the behavior of a criminal minority of that group. In the same way, like for example, the other complexity here is it then creates the opening, I guess you could say, for racists to say, well, hold on, this race commits more crimes than this race. This minority group commits more crimes than Asian people. And there are crime statistics that do account for race, right? Well, they factor this in. And so what is stopping an Asian person from justifying their racism towards black people by saying, well, hold on. And by the way, when it comes to almost all crimes across the board, Asian people commit these crimes the least, right? But they could look to white people. They could look to black people. They could look to Hispanic people and say, well, hold on, I'm Asian. Black people commit these violent crimes more frequently than Asian people do. You would agree, though, that to make some sort of blanket general statement about black people would be racist, right? Oh, do you? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe you're like, I'm fine with it, actually.
No. I'm not racist.
No, but would you would agree that it wouldn't be fair to paint all black people as, to start having bigotry or contempt or racist sentiment towards black people, despite the factual crime statistics that per capita, they do engage in certain crime more than other races.
What's the? I
Well,
kind of forgot the question, but
we were talking about.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were saying, well, she's kind of justified, even if she didn't have her own trauma. I have stats. I have crime statistics, and it shows that men commit these crimes more often than women. 98% of perpetrators of this crime are men, and you're essentially trying to get to, well, that's the justification for women's lack of trust in men, or whatever it is, bigotry. The difference is I would say, while we can acknowledge that crime statistics are true and that there are discrepancies between men and women, even between races, that I would never go, even though, for example, black people commit more violent crime than whites or Asians. I would never say, well, we should treat the entire group. We should treat this entire group and appraise them generally, and appraise an individual black person who we don't know anything about as potentially being more violent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a counter to this, or, well, do you want to revise your position, or do you think what do you think?
I don't know. I don't really have any more comments on it.
But so I guess what were you trying to get at by saying, well, men commit these crimes more?
I just wanted to bring up the statistic that it is a 90% plus statistic for sexual assault, and that it's committed by men. So if you do take that into account, not saying that all men do this or that women can't be sexual predators. I'm just saying that I would understand why she has trust issues just based on statistical, maybe her own experiences.
Sure. Can I ask you this though? If a white person had their own individual traumatic experience with a black person, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, and then they also showed you, hey, look at these crime statistics right here, would you understand their racism?
Not really.
No. Would you do you think their racism is justified?
No.
So why is sexism towards men justified?
I don't think it's sexism. I think
what is
it's
it?
Just.
Well, you tell me what it is.
I wouldn't call it sexism. I'm not saying that all men are
Well, here was your framing. You said you understand why she doesn't trust. Was that the right word? She doesn't trust men. Well, I'll just use the exact same language, but input race. Would you say you understand a white person who doesn't trust black people because they've been victimized by a black person, and they would show you, they can show you, trust me, crime statistics that show that black people per capita commit certain crimes disproportionately and commit crimes more often than white people or Asian people? Would you understand why somebody wouldn't trust a black person?
I guess logically, yes, I would, but for me personally, it would be different.
It's different. Well,
it's just different.
But that's where you and me differ. Where I would say, well, no, I don't think you should make generalized statements about black people or any other minority group, just as you shouldn't make these statements about men. I think your position is a bit untenable. You're going to have to either revise your position and say that, you know what, Brian, you're right, we shouldn't make these bigoted comments or whatever, or these attitudes towards men are not really justified, or you're going to have to open the floodgates to justified racism. There's no way around it. That's the logical extension of your position. I had bad experience with this group of this person who belongs to this group, I have crime statistics that show this group does this, commits X crime more often. That's the opening. So will you stand with me against racism and sexism? Or will you allow for exceptions to sexism and racism so long as somebody has personally been victimized and they can show you crime statistics?
I guess I'll stand with you and not allow any sexism or
Okay,
racism.
all right, there we go. All right, good times. Okay,
Well, I have a question.
into the mic if you can.
Oh, sorry. Would you, are you a feminist?
No.
So you're misogynistic?
Well,
How does that
it's not one
You
or
don't
the
have to-
other.
yeah.
explain that though? What do you mean?
Do you know the definition of feminism?
I have two of my own definitions for
There's
it.
3 different phases of it.
Hold on, hold on. Let me play this,
Azil's donated $200.
and then we'll get into
Brian,
that.
don't test me. Michael is the most famous person to step foot on Earth to this day. Thriller is the GOAT album. Still the highest selling. Knew you were a Swiftie, Brian.
Okay.
Hashtag free felicity.
You're right.
hashtag free
I'm a Swiftie. Thank you.
That's not nice.
Just kidding. Joke.
So sorry, what were you saying? The definition of feminism? You tell me your definition, and I'll give you mine.
The advocacy of women's rights and equal rights between genders.
Okay. Well, I disagree with your definition, but I'll give you two. I'll give you the charitable definition, which I don't think is actually the case. The first definition of feminism that I would give is women's advocacy, period. So that's the first half of your definition. So even my charitable definition, feminism absolutely is never about equality. Feminism is about women's advocacy. And to be clear, there's nothing wrong with women's advocacy. However, let's not parade around feminism as if it were actually at all interested in equality.
Why is it not?
Well, for example, I don't typically hear feminists ever doing any advocacy for men. The advocacy that they support, again, nothing wrong with this, but if we're using terms like equality, it should actually meet the criteria and definition for equality. Feminists never really advocate for men. Feminists dismiss, downplay, omit ways in which men could conceivably have things worse. There's plenty of statistics that actually can back this up, that in many, many ways, things have it worse than women. I think men and women each respectively have their own difficulties and struggles in life.
100%.
Right, but feminists actually refuse to acknowledge them because it would completely dismantle and crumble the fantasy of what they've attempted to construct as women victims, women oppressed, men perpetrators, men predators, men oppressors. Let me finish really quick though. In any situation, and here's the killer. If there was a scenario where achieving equality came to the detriment of women, feminists wouldn't fight for it. And there are ways in which equality, like we're not equal, that would equalize us, where feminists would actively, because it's women's advocacy, right? Where women would stand to, it would come to the detriment of women in some way. So, for example, often in the court system, there's massive bias against men.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bias against men. If we saw, for example, we wanted to try to equalize, when we dispense punishments for crimes, there seems to be clear evidence that men receive harsher punishments for crimes. more fines, more jail time, longer probation, more likely to be convicted, all these sorts of things, right? Also in the like the family court system, civil court system, when it comes to family law, there is quite a bit of bias in the law against men. You see this in divorce. Now, I'm not saying some women here have been divorced. Maybe your divorce didn't go so great. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but there's definitely, for example, when it comes to child custody, there's a lot of assumptions made about the, what's the word? There's a lot of assumptions made about men's, trying to think what the right word is here. Capacity? No, not capacity.
Ability to care
Like-
for their child.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, what's that, Nick?
I agree with you.
No, not that.
You think
There's a
what-
lot of assumptions made about men's, I guess, lack
Capability.
of. No, that's not it. Fuck.
Describe what it is.
Like ability, capacity, but it's not quite that. It's
Capability.
shit. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I'm the type of person I can't move away from it until I figure it out. Men's aptitude. Give me synonyms for aptitude. Yo, you know, I mean, you're Googling it. Maybe where's the chat? I'm trying to see. Come on, Nick. You should be a walking dictionary here. Proficiency, maybe, whatever. Anyways, yeah, there's massive bias. And so, for example, in Florida, I recall the court system was trying to make it so that when there's like a split, like, you know, there's a child custody dispute, there are court systems in the United States where the courts would defer to giving the mom custody. And they were less likely to give husbands custody. I don't know the exact, obviously, there's so many jurisdictions.
It's very bad in Pennsylvania, too.
Right. And so we saw women's organizations, and really big ones. I don't want to misquote. I believe, I could be wrong. I think it was the National Organization for Women, or maybe one of these other ones in Florida, fighting against equal custody. What?
Sorry.
You don't have to, okay. Equal custody, distribute, that's not the right word. Equal custody in Florida.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be equal if men and women, when they're going through a dispute, shouldn't it just default to 50-50 custody?
I think so.
Well, okay, it wasn't the case in Florida, and feminists fought against it.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So this idea that feminism is about equality, and then the obviously the big one, military conscription. Women have had the vote for 100 years. For men to get the vote, they had to fight and die for their country. Men are subject to the selective service system. In order to be able to vote, you have to register for the selective service system. This is something that only applies to men. Women feminists have had 100 years to equalize the draft.
Yeah.
I don't see any feminist organizations ever saying, hey, you know what? We really don't want to go to war, but for the name and for the sake of equality, we're going to try to equalize the draft because that would be equal. That would be equality.
Yeah.
So feminism is women's advocacy. It definitely doesn't give a fuck about equality unless that equality benefits women. Then you'll fight for equality.
I think
But
that's chauvinism.
any equality that could conceivably detriment women, child custody stuff, draft, military, all this shit, they don't give a fuck.
Well, I think you're speaking for corrupt groups, to be honest, and those are chauvinists.
Well, hold on.
They think women are better than men. Like,
Wait, hold on.
feminism is equality between genders, and a true feminist would fight for equality. You know.
Ooh, okay, well, we're doing like No True Scotsman. I'm not interested in dictionary definitions. Dictionary definitions can be wrong. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if one of these woke dictionaries tried to change the definition of what a woman is. In any case, I'm interested in the fruits of feminism. I don't care. Like, for example, right? Politicians lie. Can feminists lie?
Oh, 100%.
Great.
Everyone can lie.
So it's very like a virtue signal to say, I believe in equality. But if you look at their fruits, the fruits of feminism, the product of feminism, I never actually see any advocation towards any sort of equality where women could be disadvantaged or inconvenienced by equality. They won't fight for it. They won't fight for it.
I mean, I'm going to have to say that's chauvinism, though. Because, like,
Okay.
that's like, or radical feminists, you know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know, like true feminists would fight for equality between genders, and I think that's like a misconception in the media.
Well, I mean, it's just it's a no true Scotsman fallacy. This idea that, well, you know, those feminists, like the 99% of feminists that you're talking about, Brian, there are those like few good feminists. No. I've never seen feminists ever advocate for military conscription for women. I've never seen feminists ever advocate for equality where women somehow are disadvantaged or inconvenienced, or it strips them of some privilege that they've had in society.
Well, then that needs to change because that's not true feminism.
Well, feminists have had well over 100 years to do this, but they don't. None of the mainstream feminist organizations.
Mainstream.
Yeah, shouldn't the mainstream feminist organizations that like have the political capital and the influence and the funding and the money, shouldn't they be the ones who are advocating for equality?
Yeah, because that's true feminism.
Okay, so 99% of feminists are not feminists then?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, because true feminism is like fighting for equal rights between the genders.
Yeah, but that would just be egalitarianism. Like, it's funny, it's in the word itself, feminism, feminine. It's in the word. The word itself clearly would point towards, we don't care about equality. We want, again, nothing wrong with it. We want to secure benefits, privileges, rights for women. We want to do women's advocacy. That's it. It's not about equality.
It's fighting for women's rights to be equal to men.
But we're already equal to them.
I have a question about the draft, I guess, for Brian and everyone else. Do you think, like, if, say, women were drafted, do you think they should be on the front lines?
Oh.
Or, like, more in hospitality type, or, like, the kitchen, like,
administrative chef, or something would
something
be
else. Like, but do you think they should be on the front lines?
I guess I don't have a
I'm just
stance on that, but, like, why not? If they're more qualified than others, then yeah.
Well, I think that's more about, like, physical strength.
Yeah.
Our bodies we're different from men, so...
Oh, just one
Your
sec.
XD donated $200.
Sorry for the delay, man.
If you normalize for sexually coercive acts, forced to penetrate acts, etc., women account for 30 to 50% of perpetrators of rape. I'm sure this will shock many women, which is your privilege talking.
But Brian, what do you think about my question? I'm genuinely curious.
Your question being that,
like,
should
say,
women be on the front line if they do get drafted?
Yeah.
Well, by the way, curious guy, I think for the merch thing came up, Nick? Yo, thank you for it looks like you bought a hoodie. Thank you, man. I mean, well, first off, I think it's really unlikely that we're going to ever equalize the draft. But yeah, so yeah, sure. If it would still be unequal, because even if we did, I think what we would see is that even if women did get drafted, they would overwhelmingly be put in support roles by the military, unless there was like as part of the draft, women were also compelled to fight.
Well, I was asking, like, do you think they should be on the front lines? Or in, like, other positions?
So, practically speaking, no. They shouldn't be frontline. But
If you're the opposing party, you're going to want them on the front line, but I wouldn't want.
But
couldn't
for
that
the
make-
sake of equality, and if equality is important, put them on the fucking front line.
But we're not, men and women are not equal physically. Like,
So?
men are typically, generally stronger than women. So couldn't
Yeah.
that possibly make the military weaker?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
calm down.
as an American man, do you want women fighting on the front line to protect us as American citizens?
Yeah, in terms of combat readiness, yeah, you typically don't want women on the front lines. They're not as physically strong as men. They're more prone to injury. You know, it's just, we see this in sports even. You look at like really fast, is it fast twitch? I don't know.
Yeah.
Women are more prone to certain like knee injuries, these sorts of things, just because men are a little sturdier in terms of skeletal, musculo. Hold on, sorry.
Muscular.
It's a word salad.
Musculoskeletal.
Musculoskeletal system. And you know, you're in certain military situations, you're fucking sprinting and running and carrying a backpack and all this shit. But in any case, yeah, men are better suited. But I mean, if we want to live in a feminist utopian society, then yeah, women should probably die.
I don't
on the
want to
front
live in
line.
that kind of society.
I do not.